Okay, good morning. This is still October 2014. As promised, I'm gonna make you guys some chili. Um, give you some background about chili. It has now become an American pastime dish, especially around now, getting into winter when it's cold. People love to eat chili. There are lots of chili cook-offs and what have you. I mean, I want a couple, but more of the local things, you know. No biggie, no national competitions, or, you know, certainly not in California or Los Angeles. Local stuff where people just love my chili. And all chili is it's a stew. It's a stew made with ground meat and beans, and of course it gets the name chili from all those chili peppers that you put in it. Back in the early 19th century, 1880, 1890, 1893, somewhere there, it became rather popular here when most of the states became, or a lot of the states became American states. Texas was Mexico, California was Mexico. The Spaniards pretty much are the ones who brought that with them. But it became very, very popular as an American dish over the years, especially once the states became American states. But it's a stew, and it's a good stew. I like the beef from time to time, once in a while. I'm not, I don't say I'm never going to eat beef, but I like to prepare it with turkey, ground turkey. And I have a couple little things that I put in it to add a kicker to it. I don't like using lots of hot sauces, because hot sauces are usually tongue burners. I mean, they burn the tongue. I like the chili peppers. You can kind of control that. I just need something coming in on the background that says spice. I don't need an overhaul type of spice killing all my flavors. I just need the chili peppers kind of sneaking up somewhere in there. Of course, some of the ingredients that you're going to need is chili powder, and you can make your own chili powder. It's not a big deal. You don't always have to go on out and buy it, because all it has in it is cumin and paprika and all those various spices. And of course you add your chili peppers, dried chili peppers or fresh. I like to use fresh chili peppers. I'm going to use this today. Chili is like a plane taking off, and it's somewhere up in the air, just cruising, and then you kind of bring it in for landing. The bringing it in for landing is very, very essential. It's very, very important, because now you're sort of taste testing to bring that taste in. You can't take out, you can put in. So if you overwhelmed the chili with any kinds of stuff, you're not going to be able to take it out. But you can add. So you have to bring it in. You have to bring that baby in for landing, and that's the important thing with making chili. And again, clean hands, clean fingernails. You always want that. I hate to see long nails in a kitchen. I hate to see long nails in a kitchen, short nails. So here's what I'm going to do. I have a pot on here right now, and this is a cast iron pot with the enamel on the outside, and enamel is a fantastic product. The cast iron is a great pot, and I touched on that a few weeks ago. Cast iron has pores in it. the actual cast iron has pores. And so if you cooked curry or you cooked some different flavor last week, once the pot goes on to the heat, it's fine, but then as the pot comes off the stovetop and gets to a cooling place, the pores closes in and traps whatever you cooked. And so the next time you prepare whatever you prepare, white rice, a month from now, or whatever it is, those pores open up, up comes whatever it is you cooked. In your previous times, that was the bad thing about cast iron. But it's a very good pot because it takes the heat very, very quickly. And so they found ways to overcome that weakness with the pot. And so what they've done, they've taken stainless steel, which you can put into your body for healing purposes, as I've touched on, stainless steel, or they've put enamel coating. And so the pot is still able to do what it was meant to do, which is absorb heat quickly, but it is now a safer, not safe, but safer. Nothing is ever quite safe. A safer product to use. First sets of pots, like I say, were the clay pots, and then went to the glass pots, and the glass couldn't go on heat, and then go on coal, it'll crack, and then they went to something else, and then on to Pyrex, and Pyrex would cause food to stick in it, and then cast iron, and then aluminium, even aluminium today, which was a horrible pot in its own self, because when you're cooking things with iron, like figs, you see all that black is getting pulled onto the aluminium, and that was horrible for that pot. Today what they do with it, they put stainless steel onto it, so it's still a good product, aluminium, but now with the stainless steel onto it, it makes it a safer pot again. Got some knives here from Emerald. I love Emerald products, and I'm going to use a couple of these knives today. I love using his scissors for cutting stuff. Of course, the paring knife for paring any vegetables, and then you have your slicer for slicing stuff. Your bread knife. This is the one with the teeth. And then you have your chef knife, for chopping. Bring your fingers in so you don't cut your fingers. You curl your fingers in, put this against the knuckles, and you chop. So this has the, that kind of motion to it. And of course you have your Santuki knife, which is a knife also for chopping and mincing and dicing and all that kind of stuff. You can pretty much do the same thing. And then you have your utility knife, and your utility knife is a cross between your chef knife and your paring knife. It's a smaller knife, like I say, it's between. It's a smaller knife, pretty much used for about the same kinds of things. The chef knife is for bigger, much larger stuff. The utility knife, you use it for smaller stuff. So here we go. I got my pot on, and I'm going to put some oil in there, because one of the things, I'm going to put some oil in there and get that nice and hot. Because one of the things I'm going to be doing, green onions, the brown onions, they work best for what I'm about to do, which is to get them to sweat. But I like sweet onions. Sweet onions are your white onions. I think they're a much better product. I think they're much better. garlic, because chili requires lots of garlic. So I have about 8 cloves of garlic. This is a kicker for me. It's jerk seasoning. I like it. This is another one of my gadgets. Used to be, when I was in Trinidad growing up as a boy, Mom would always say, "Can you open this for me?" I tried to open it, you couldn't open it, then you stick it between the door, and you pull the door in to sort of loosen it. And a lot of doors got damaged. I'm sure you can look at any house growing up and see the damage that got caused. Now we got these gadgets. Easy. Alright? What I want to do now is to put the turkey, and I use Jenny-O turkey. It's nice and lean. And that goes into the pot. Surprise! One of my flavorings in this is, so I have Jenny-O 97% lean, and that's turkey. And I have the turkey sausage in there. It's also Jenny-O. And so I want to see this nice and brown. I want to see that nice and brown. And I'm going to put in some jerk seasoning in here, just because it has lots of various flavors in there. Start my cleanup. Let's put a little bit more oil in there. And so this is really turned up. And all I'm doing is mixing in that jerk seasoning flavor. Remember, the plane is now taking off. Now taking off. Alright, pretty soon we're going to have it sailing, and then we're going to bring it in for landing. So my garlic is in there with the onions. That was sweating on high heat with some oil. And then I put in my Jenny-O, ground turkey and ground sausage, 97% lean. So I'm getting two sets of flavors already working. I'm getting two sets of flavors because in this pot you need a bit of fat. So you can't have it all lean. And you need flavoring of the sausage. So I kind of add that sausage to give it flavor. At this time, I can start adding in my chili powder. I'll do half of the pack because I have other things to add in it, which would make this dish a very, very tasty dish when it's done. I want to get those flavors working in there. And you see I'm doing everything in steps because each step of the way I want this chili to be a very, very tasty chili. So I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush to do anything. Okay? I just need my chili to be as tasty as it has always been. Very, very tasty. Of course I have kidney beans, red kidney beans I'm going to need, but that's not happening right now. But I'm going to just prepare that because I like preparation. Preparation means that everything is in front of you. You don't have to be looking for stuff. I've already done 3 cans. I did 2 cans of pinto beans and 2 cans of the dark red kidney beans. I'm going to throw the water out because you don't want the water that comes. You don't want the water that comes with the thing because that has a lot of sodium in it and it has all the chemicals that they placed in it, that they put in it to keep the product. That is not a good thing. That is not healthy for you. So you wash those things out in the can. You wash those things out in the can. That would be almost the last thing that goes in. But I'm prepping, okay? I have some paste, tomato paste. I need some of that. So my can of potato paste is also here, and I'm going to take a couple teaspoons of this, or tablespoons rather. And like I say, we're still bringing it in. Well, not bringing it in now. It is still in the air. And notice I haven't tasted anything as yet. Don't need to taste anything. If you've been cooking long enough, you know what to do. You know what you're trying to accomplish. The taste you're trying to get to. I already know the taste I'm going to be getting. Before I even put this bottle on, I know the taste I will be getting. I've done this before. Okay? And so that is still going. So I have the paste in there. I put in the jerk seasoning just because of the type of spices that they use. And it's nice and hot. It's not hot to burn your tongue, but all of that is going to come from behind to make me know that I'm eating chili. People like eating chili that's nice and spicy. They don't like to eat chili that is not spicy. And I think that's where every time I enter these little competitions, I would win because they'll get all these flavors. And they love these flavors. Okay? So, and you see, my cooking is always quick. It's, you know, I hear people say you gotta season this for 20 hours and all that kind of nonsense. You know, and you hear somebody saying, you know, from afar, did you season the meat yet? Did you do this yet? You know, I do everything right on the spot. And I'm telling you, the flavors are beautiful. If you know what you're doing, the flavors are beautiful. I'm not going to name this beer, I'll just call it the other beer. Why? Because it's not a carrot, It's not a stag, so I'm not going to be naming beer that is not Caribou stag. I'm not going to be giving people a plug. I'll just say that this wine is a Chardonnay, and if you can't drink it, don't use it in your pot. So now I put in my Chardonnay. If you can't drink it, if it's not tasty, for you to drink, do not cook with it. So I'll put that here. A couple things I need here about my Angostura bitters, as you know. That's in there. Angostura bitters is in there. You're going to find that this pot has a few things in it, but it has to. I have some red wine vinegar in there. Always love that. I'll put in my cracked salt. And again, anything, when you're cooking, anything that takes a long time to cook, you cook that first. Anything that takes a short time to cook, that goes in last. Vegetables and so on, they go in last. So this other beer goes in here. So I got Chardonnay wine, and I got some beer in there, the other beer. Let's call it the other beer. We want to give them a plug. I buy these things because I've always maintained that anybody who comes to my house, if I didn't have what you wanted the first time, by the time you come back, you will have it. So I have all these different beer and wine and whiskey and vodka and rum, but it's not for me. I am a simple, I'm a simple rum and coke guy, rum and Pepsi kind of a guy. Stag, Carib, that's me. No fancy. I found this product, and it's Kitchen Basics. It's unsalted vegetable stock. I like that. So I'm going to put some of that in there. I just kind of spilled some there. That's okay, just means clean up. And so a lot of the stuff that I wanted is in there. Where's my, let's just use this. Okay. So that's going. So I have a lot of what I really need before I get into the vegetable parts of it. And of course with chili you can eat it, like I said, it's a stew, so you can get a nice little bowl, a cup of it, and sit and eat it nicely. Or you can put cheese over it, or you can do hot dogs. And I don't recommend hot dog now. I mean, I know I was going to do some hot dogs today. I was going to bathe it, give it a beer bath with lots of onions, but I decided against it because I'm finding out more about hot dogs that I don't like, and I love hot dogs, but I'm going to have to, colon cancer and that kind of stuff, because it's a cooked product. It's already cooked, and by the time you get it home, it's gone through so much of the heat to cold and heat to cold and heat to cold. The bacteria gets into it very, very quickly, and since it's already cooked, it's tough to get the bacteria out of there. So I'm going to have to sort of pull back on my taste for hot dogs. They say if you eat at least one hot dog a day, you are subjected to getting colon, rectal cancer. And that's not a good thing. And it's a product I love, and it's an American type of product. The sausages came from Germany in the first place, and America took it, and it has become that food that Americans eat at football time, and baseball and basketball time. Tastes very, very good, but I guess the end result is not the best. All right, so I am not going to cook it today. So this has been going for a while, and what I'm going to do now is cover it for another few minutes. I'll give it about 3-4 minutes, and when that's done, then I'm going to get into all of my other ingredients. And these again, you don't need to cook these things. They get added in. One of the things that I didn't put in my pot is good old shadow Benny. Yeah, I get those things here. We get them here. We get them at the Asian markets. We get a lot of stuff here from the Spanish markets and the Asian markets in California. Yesterday, my taste buds were jumping all over the place. I know I talk about junk food and things, but look, it's not 100%, but I try to pull back on a lot of that stuff. I just felt for some saltfish and smoked herring. Smoked herring is what I wanted, and then I went to get the smoked herring, and then saw the saltfish and said, all right, here is what I'm going to do. For the first time, I'm going to combine these two because my taste buds want all two. I decided I'm going to combine the two. In Spanish here in California, or wherever I guess Spanish is spoken, saltfish is known as bacalao. Herring is just known as herring. And of course, it is nice and fresh. It's not like the real dry one we used to get years ago. It's nice and fresh. I boiled it for about an hour or so, got the salt out of it, and then I put it in a saute pot with garlic, onions, just a little bit of my kind of seasoning to bring those flavors together, with lots of olive oil, and it was a beautiful thing. Hell, I still have some in the fridge too. So it'll be a toss-up with my dinner tonight. Chili or saltfish and herring. Tough choice. I'll see where my taste buds want to go. Alright, so for now we're cutting up all these tomatoes, because all of this is going into the pot. Stem and all, the life of these products lies within the stem. I perspire a lot. I have about 10 lights here, 12 lights here. I don't put my air conditioner on unless it's very, very hot. I'll put my central air conditioner on. And then cooking with air conditioner is not the best. Alright, so you have to cook in heat. The best cooking, I think, is done in heat. You don't want all this, you don't want air condition with the foods that you're preparing. So if you see me perspiring all the time, yes, I do perspire a lot. But I have a lot of these lights here. This is not like when I grew up and there was just one bulb. Times change for us, for me, for a lot of other people. So This is a sweet onion. And what I like with the sweet onion is that you don't have to put this in cold water to get rid of all of that type of rind kind of thing. I don't know if there's another name for it. But you know that kind of bitter thing that comes out. White onions, to me, are the better onions. I love white onions. You can put white onions on anything at any given time. And one of the reasons why I'm chopping this as fine as I can get them chopped is because when you're eating chili, you don't want large pieces of stuff. You really don't want large pieces of stuff. Okay? So let's try tasting this now. Let's see what happens. So for the first time in minutes, I'm going to be tasting this. It's safe or safer because it's been cooking for some time. The heat would have pretty much destroyed the bacteria. I didn't add any salt, well, just the black Hawaiian ground salt. And I'm not going to add any more. A lot of herbs. I love to use a lot of herbs because it really does bring out all these flavors. You need to salt stuff down. Remember, like I said, the chili already has cumin and paprika and and cinnamon and all kinds of stuff in it. So this already has the salt. This already has a lot of salt. The tomato paste has some salt in it. The jerk has some salt in it. The beer has some sodium in it. The wine has some sodium in it. So a lot of the things that I use has a lot of sodium in it. So you really don't need to be adding all this salt. I put some pepper in there. And I like to put my Heinz tomato ketchup. We do that a lot. But like I say, the flavors I have in there is beautiful. Beautiful flavors. I don't need to put anything else in there but to finish it off. To finish it off now with my vegetables, and that's it. And since it's a playful product, and by that I mean you eat it because well, you want to get away from a diet, a particular diet. You just want to free up yourself. It's a football game going on, cricket, soccer.